Airline operator Comair is seeking to be liquidated. Its business rescue practitioners have lodged a court application to convert the business rescue proceedings into liquidation proceedings. This follows attempts to raise the necessary funds for the operator to resume its Kulula.com and British Airways operations, which have failed. Comair abruptly halted operations of both its airlines on the 31st of May, leaving thousands of passengers stranded. A recent statement indicated that those customers would be compensated by the end of this week. But now the operator says employees and customers who held bookings or were owed refunds will now become creditors of the company. Just yesterday, Labour Union Numsa raised concerns about Comair's financial troubles, indicating that up to 1,200 jobs were at risk if the airline operator was to collapse. Well, for more on this, I'm joined by Numsa spokesperson Phakamile Hlubi-Majola. Thank you very much, Phakamile, for joining us. A very sad day, of course, for employees at Comair. And, of course, you had feared the worst, that, 1,200 employees could be affected as a result. What sort of assurances have you been given in this process, given that it's now coming to the liquidation stage? What are employees going to get?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your viewers, Nombo. I think, first of all, we have to say as a union that we are still basically dealing with this issue. We've only just found out about this announcement regarding what the business rescue practitioners have been saying, which is that they are going to start liquidation proceedings. Indeed, on our side, this definitely would be what you would say is a worst case scenario, because this is not what we would want. But be that as it may, this is the situation that workers are faced with. It's hard for me to comment beyond that, because, as I said, we just got that announcement not too long ago. We are going to be meeting with shop stewards later this afternoon. We'll also get a briefing from our attorney, and we will only after that be able to comment more comprehensively on the liquidation announcement.
Yeah, perhaps we can reflect on your recent meetings with Comair and the business rescue practitioners. You have indicated in a number of statements that you've been having regular meetings with them. What was the tone, and what were you led to believe was the possibility?
We were told in the meeting that the financial status of the company was dire. We were told that we had weeks in order to find an investor, or otherwise the airline would face closure or liquidation. We did express in that meeting our frustrations with the business rescue practitioner, Richard Ferguson, because it is our view that this airline is in the state because of him. He mismanaged the business rescue process, and in mismanaging the business rescue process, he brought this airline down. And we can say this because of the fact that whilst we were receiving regular monthly updates from him up until the grounding of the flights on the 31st of May, there was nothing in those announcements or updates that we were receiving that in any way suggested that this was where the organization was headed. So we feel very strongly that the reason workers are now faced with a very uncertain future is absolutely because of the behavior of Richard Ferguson. He did not come up with a vision to turn around this organization, in spite of being there for more than 2 years. So really, I think it needs to be made clear that this viable airline was brought down by this business rescue practitioner.
I know it's still early days. Like you say, you've only heard about the liquidation proceedings, but ideally, what would you hope that the Comair employees would be able to get, in this end game sort of thing?
In terms of liquidation, my understanding is that there's fixed amounts that workers can receive. And those amounts are not always figures that are, you're talking about people who've not been paid or not going to get paid for the month of June. But beyond that, are those figures going to be sustainable in the medium to long term? And one of the challenges, of course, as you know, is that whatever monies are going to be procured here, it's going to be limited amount for workers. One of the figures that, for example, I think it's 12,000 rands that workers can get paid. And given that this is a country that's not growing jobs, unemployment is extremely high, this is not going to be sustainable for most of these workers. But again, we still need to get more information. We've not had a creditors meeting, and those are some of the things that have to take place. There has to be a meeting with ourselves so that we can be briefed on exactly what it is that workers are going to receive and how this process will unfold.
Yeah.
My understanding is that the hearings will be held early next week.
Okay, Phakamile, thank you very much for your feedback on what's happening thus far, and we'll speak to you going forward. Phakamile Hlubi-Majola.